All right, Shalom. This is the brothers of GMS New Orleans coming at you with another live camp. But before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. And to the few sincere Aqua, diligently learning in silence. Shalom. Shalom. And hey, it's another Saturday. It's another camp prophesying the word and prophesying, the downfall of Babylon the Great, which is one of the biblical names for the United States of America. And as we can see, if you've been paying attention to current events, this place is about to get taken at all angles, economically, militarily, you name it. And a bunch of information's come out recently just further showing how there's about to be external forces coming against this place as well as internal forces coming against this place. Because for the longest time, these Americans thought that, hey, America could never be touched. All these wars and crimes against humanity, that just happens to countries outside of America. They have something called normalcy bias, where since things have been normal in this country, relatively normal for the last couple of decades, that all that stuff is just, that's somebody else's problem. But when we go into biblical prophecy and then line it up with current events, you Americans are about to find out that it's about to become your own problem in your own backyard. I'm going to start off with that Ezekiel 38.
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 10. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought.
And when you read up, this is talking about Gog, which is the biblical name for Russia in the scriptures. And then when you go down to verse 5, it talks about some of the allies of God, Persia, which is Iran, which keep that in mind because they're playing a major part right now. Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. And then it says Gomer and all his bands. And Gomer is speaking of Turkey, which Turkey's a NATO member right now. But as we see in Ezekiel 38, there's going to come a point to where they're going to turn against the West, which we can already see because just recently Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan signed an alliance deal. They said to protect themselves against Iran, but ultimately to protect themselves against the state of Israel, which this is what Ezekiel 38 is ultimately going into. These nations coming against the land of Israel and those Amalekite Edomites over there. But with these verses we're going into, keep in mind, it's talking about those Amalekites. Then on the other hand, it could be talking about America, these Americans as well. Keep going on.
And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates.
And that's talking about you Americans and your mindset, those that are dwelling carelessly, thinking they're safe. Like we just said, normalcy bias. Since nothing major has really ever happened on this landmass. Of course, you had the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, but that was nothing compared to like a World War I or World War II. Even an Iraq War or anything like that. Americans think that, oh yeah, that's just somebody else's problem. But it's about to become your problem. There's going to be IEDs going off in America. There's going to be terrorist attacks, whether domestic or foreign. There's going to be civil unrest, racial unrest, martial law. All these things that's just everyday life for a lot of these other countries out here is about to become everyday life for you Americans. But give you that Isaiah 47. If I grab one first. Con, you got it. Con, you got it.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47 and verse 1. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon.
And that's a key word. It talks about it being the virgin daughter of Babylon. Because when you go to Psalms 137, verses 7 to about 9, it equates you Edomites with being the daughter of Babylon. And again, Babylon, the virgin daughter of Babylon, Babylon the Great. Mystery Babylon in Revelation 17 is one of the code words for America.
It says, sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate.
And, we can clearly see that right now. I've been chopping up with this brother. I've got a TikTok account. And when you go to TikTok, all it is people talking shit about Edomites, the so-called white people, and especially talking shit about America. The jig is up. Everybody knows that democracy is a sham, equality is a sham, and the only thing this government operates on is what? Theft. You know, making some other nation look like the bad guy, you know, because they have oil or some other resource, or they're in a geostrategic location and say, look, they're oppressing the women, they're oppressing the kids, and then we come in with democracy and freedom, and you just bomb the country back to the Stone Ages and have a bunch of corporations rebuild everything, and then it gets westernized. So then what do you get? Feminism, so the family breaks down, and then you get a bunch of sodomites running around. And everybody's hip to the game. Hence why it says, and I believe it's Jeremiah 51, the nations have drunk of thy wine, therefore the nations are mad. And that wine is going into your philosophies that you spread across the earth. You know, a lot of these nations have got on board with westernization, and they're seeing that it's breaking down their societies. So hence, they're bucking up against you. They're mad, you know, spiritually, and also they're getting mad physically to where they're ultimately going to, you know, take it to this whore.
It's back in Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 7, it says, and thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou dost not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Verse 8, therefore, hear now that thou art given to pleasures that dwellest carelessly.
Going back to Ezekiel 38, the place, the of one-walled villages, dwelling carelessly, you know, and at rest and at peace.
Yeah, and if I could add to you, because it said that thou said that I'll be a lady forever. So, like you said, you had a mindset of these Americans, you know, they're politicians. Even look at the president, man. I was looking at some shit earlier on Twitter today, and he, you know, this reporter was interviewing him, and he was like, "Oh well, dude, let's say I'm the best president ever." And the reporter said, "No one's saying that." He was like, "Oh well, maybe you're right." It's just a delusion, you know, that these Americans are under, you know, saying that, oh, we just gonna be a kingdom forever. Like it tell you in Psalms, the inward thought is that the houses shall continue forever. But no, man, this place is getting ready to see bloodshed like it's never seen before.
The most bloodshed in human history. And just to back you up with Donald Trump recently with this whole situation with America running out of missiles, you'll have in one breath him saying, well, you know, we didn't run out of missiles. We still got missiles. But then the other hand, yeah, we're low on missiles. Yeah. So, and then he even went further. It's like, yeah, you know, we've got big, powerful weapons we haven't used yet. But yeah, we're running out of some missiles. And then it's like every other day, it's like, what? Oh, we've reached a peace deal with Iran. And then literally he said that recently. And then I think like damn near a couple of minutes later, but we're going to destroy them.
Yeah. Some bullshit. Man.
It's all just propaganda. You know, going back to that wine, that American exceptionalism that these people drink down thinking that, you know, we're number one. We're never going to go down. I shall sit a lady forever.
Verse 8, it says, therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children.
And another thing too, this always stuck with me. You know, y'all, I'm sure y'all brothers seen it, you know, in World War II, they had that famous picture where they had all those soldiers raising the flag. Well, that was at something called the Battle of Iwo Jima, which that picture, that was actually the second picture they took. They make it seem like that was when they first raised it. That was actually the second picture they took that they posed for. But one of the Marine commanders there said, this picture is going to ensure that the Marine Corps lasts for another 500 years.
Damn.
And this was only like, what, 80, 90 years ago. And we can see that this place is on the brink of utter collapse. But again, I shall sit a lady. I shall never be a widow, nor see the loss of children.
Verse 9, it says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for thy great abundance of thine enchantments.
Those sorceries, again, going back to that wine, that as it says in Nahum, I believe it's chapter 3, it says that the mother of harlots that has sold these nations on thy witchcrafts. You know, all these different philosophies that America has been able to deceive the people with, to get them to, you know, follow after this American way. For that, and first and foremost, for what you did to the children of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the 12 tribes on this sign. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is about to judge this place in great bloodshed. And when it says, in a moment, thou shalt know the loss of children and widowhood, that's ultimately talking about the nuclear missiles hitting this place and destroying it 1 hour, as it says in Revelation 18. But that's happening, but that's happening after a series of events leading up to it, which we're coming into that series of events. All these calamities and judgments of Jacob's trouble, which when you read in Matthew 24, it says what pestilence is, famines, nation against nation, talking about race wars, all these things we're going into.
Verse 10, it says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me.
And that's Esau, Edom, the so-called white man through and through. As you quoted, they think their houses shall continue forever. You Edomites actually think that what you did throughout history, taking over the earth, and especially taking over the children of Israel, you did that by your own might. But no, it was Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai that set you up. As it says in Psalms, I believe 75, promotion cometh neither from the east nor the west, nor from the north or the south, but it is the Lord that setteth up one and taketh down another. And as it says in Daniel 4:22, and it is the Lord that setteth up men, and he setteth up the basest of men, which are you Edomites. And then in Genesis 27, your blessing was the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven. By what? Your other blessing, the sword, which is your military might. Well, now we're at the time to where you've reached those bounds which you cannot pass. So that's why Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is bringing you down. But if you've been winning for the last 500 years, of course you're going to think, look, there's no way we're going to go down, especially when you've got nuclear weapons. But, you're sadly mistaken, because Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai has built up these other nations to be at parity with you. They've got the same toys that you have, and in some cases, better toys than you. Khan, you got it. And we can go that Obadiah. Khan, and we'll get,
You already quoted it, but this is a lot of me there too. The book of Psalms, chapter 75, verse 5. It says, lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor the west, nor from the south. But the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another.
Khan. And horns can represent power. And what's beautiful about that is when it talks about what the he-goat and the ram, which is going into Alexander the Great and the Persian Empire. And it said that he-goat had a horn that he attacked the ram with, but what? The horn broke into 4 pieces, ultimately going into his 4 different generals. But what? If a horn's being broken, that means your power's being broken.
That's right.
Which is what Esau's in the process of happening. His horn, his power being broken. And as the brother just read, promotion only comes from the Lord. You didn't do anything of your own volition. The elder brother says it all the time. If natural selection were to take its course, our people would have been taking you over. You can see that right now. Jake is at the bottom of society, but everybody wants to be Jake. Your women want to be with Jake. Your children dress like Jake. Like, you're losing in your own kingdom.
That's the spirit you brought up Persia, because they didn't think they were going to go down either. Yeah. Nobody thought the Persian Empire was going to go down. That was the most vast, regal society that the earth had ever seen. But the Lord, as it says here, promotion cometh neither from the east, nor of the west, nor from the south, but the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. For in the hand of Yahweh there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them.
And hey, we can precept that with what? Lamentations chapter 4. Mm-hmm. If a brother want to get it, I think it's around.
I'm right here on it.
Con.
I got that Jeremiah too for that. It's,
Con.
Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 21, and it reads, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked.
Going back to that cup, and as the brother read in Psalm 75, you're going to drink that cup down to the dregs, which is ultimately going to be slavery. And our people have drank that cup and drink seconds and thirds on that cup. But you Edomites are about to drink, that cup 2 times over. You're about to go through it, and you're already going through it and can't take it.
Yeah.
Here it is, Jake. Jake been dealing with high prices, even when prices were low. Jake struggling job to job, paycheck to paycheck. Edomites always say, "Oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah.
Stop being so lazy." Like the fact that the whole government structure isn't set up against Jake. But now, just because Pop Tarts went from $3 to $5 a pack, now you're bitching and moaning and worrying about everything. Well, hey, the best is yet to come.
Back in Psalm 75, verse 9, it says, "But I will declare forever, I will sing the praises of the Most High, the power of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted."
All the horns of the power of the wicked will I cut off. Not first and foremost, you Edomites, but you other heathens as well. And we're going to get that in that Daniel chapter 2. China doesn't have next. Russia doesn't have next. The only people that have next are the nation of Israel. That's that horn that's going to be exalted, beginning with the horn of the house of David, the elect. Khan. Which one you had in Jeremiah?
49,
49.
verse 12.
We're gonna go back to that one. Khan. Keep it locked and loaded. Oh yeah, we'll go to that Obadiah and we'll drop that one. Khan.
This is that book of Obadiah 1 and verse 1. It says, "The vision of Obadiah, thus said Yahweh power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle."
So right off the bat, it says the vision of Obadiah, thus saith Yahweh concerning Edom. And the book of Obadiah, it's a short book. It's only 21 verses, but it's got everything you could want packed in it. It's a superfood. It's got all the nutrients, all the elements you could want in it. And it's especially dedicated to you Edomites. And as it said, an ambassador is sent among you, among the heathen, which is the prophets, where that ambassador is sent among you to tell you the message that's coming down the pipeline, your immediate judgment and destruction. As the next part said, "Arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle," which we're about to go into that article to show that these nations are getting ready to rise up against you. And as we started off with in Ezekiel 38, God, as well as his allies, are going to get that evil thought to come against that land of unwalled villages where they dwell carelessly, where they think they're going to sit a lady forever. Well, read the verse 4, and then you can get that article, Baba Michelle.
Khan. This is second verse in Obadiah. It says, "Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised."
And that can go into your demographics, because contrary to popular belief, you Edomites are actually the global minority.
Right.
Different nations of people, we'll just use it in regular terms like African, Asian. They say their numbers are in the billions.
Yep.
While for, Europeans, it's around 700 million.
Damn.
And even with that, they bolster your numbers by adding Arabs and Northern Kingdom. On a lot of the, what do they call it? The censuses in America, they relabel, Arabs, even North Africans as white. You're in a demographic decline. And then on the other hand, with you being made small amongst the heathens, is your reputation being made small. Everybody is looking at you Edomites, especially in the West, as the problem of the earth. All these issues we're dealing with, it goes back to, as Hugo Chavez said, blonde-haired and blue-eyed people are the root cause of all the problems going on out here.
Right.
The skirt, that's a part of that skirt being lifted up, and your shame being shown. You can no longer hide who you are.
Verse 3, it says, "The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?"
Hey, I sit a lady, and I shall stand forever. You can read verse 1, then we'll get that article.
It says, "Though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh."
And that's another context clue to show who Edom is. "Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle." And whose symbol throughout history has been the eagle? America, Nazi Germany, Rome, you know, these various
Mount Petra.
Khan. They literally have eagles carved into Mount Petra, and they even have images of Edomites with that Roman or Greek wreath around their head, showing that everything goes back to you. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle and set thy nest among the stars, Houston has landed. You know, that fake moon landing, though you do have assets in low orbit space, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. And as it said in verse 1, all these nations shall rise up against thee in battle. But you know, we're gonna go into, you know, a little bit of an article to show that these nations are getting ready to go to war against you, not just over in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, but even on the home front.
This is the article, Iran International. The title says, Tehran preparing missiles capable of reaching U.S., cleric says.
Wait, Tehran preparing missiles capable of reaching the U.S., cleric says. You know, you had North Korea where they used to make fun of him, calling him what, Fat Man or Rocket Man.
Yeah.
But they're not laughing so much now that he's got nuclear missiles capable of reaching the U.S. West Coast.
It ain't gonna take long either.
No, they've got them hypersonic missiles.
Yep.
And who's helping them out to get that? Who's being a guard unto them? God, Russia, and China giving them that technology to bring them up to parity with the U.S.
It says a senior Iranian cleric said on Friday that the Islamic Republic plans to increase the range of its missile to 15,000 kilometers, 9,300 miles. It says, which he said will allow them to reach deep into the United States. We are preparing ourselves that the American people too will see what it is like. It says we are preparing ourselves so that the American people too will see what it is like to hit by missiles and understand what it means to be left in the blood and destruction.
And thou that dwellest carelessly. We have never seen widowhood or the loss of children. You know, those Iranians are talking big shit. They're saying we are preparing ourselves so that the American people, not the American government, but the average American citizen, too, will see what it is like to be hit by missiles and understand what it means to be left in blood and destruction. Arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle. All these wars that these American soldiers went and fought in other countries, you know, raped the women, murdered the children, you know, did all that horror and terror. All those children are grown-ups now.
Yeah.
And now they're getting ready to get their get back with their boots on the ground over here.
Hey, if I could add a point real fast, because when you look at what it's called alternative media versus what you see here in America and versus overseas, they're telling you who the ones doing the bombing to them. You know, you look at the pictures of what is it, Gaza from 20 years ago to now, it's just totally desolate, man. You don't think they're teaching those children how did this happen? Who did it? And those same children are what? They grown now, man. You know, like the brother was saying. You know, you got it.
Because I was in like the third, like the second, third, fourth grade when Iraq and Afghanistan happened. And I'm in my 30s now. So those children over there, they're around my age too.
Yeah.
And if you grew up seeing your loved ones get brutalized and now you see the place that did it going down, what spirit are you going to be in?
It says it down a little bit in the article. I don't know if you want to read it.
Yeah, you can read down to that paragraph right there.
What's the dude name? Adolan.
One of
Abdelnabi Musa Bibar. It says the Friday prayer leader in the southwestern city of Abbas said Musa Bibar also said Iran missile could reach deep into Jerusalem around 2,000 kilometers, approximately 1,240 miles away. It says leading chance of revenge. He expressed hope that Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, not a Jew, will be destroyed by Iranian forces.
So they're talking big shit. They're saying America's going to get that smoke. And they're saying what? You know, them little hats are going to get that smoke as well. And going back to Ezekiel 38, Persia was one of those nations that's under God. So everybody's ready for the smoke. It's just you average Americans that aren't ready for the smoke. A lot of y'all are dwelling carelessly. here we are going into school season and especially football season.
Yeah.
Football coming up, Halloween coming up, Thanksgiving, Saturnalia or Christmas. So their minds are somewhere else to drown out the fact that you're living paycheck to paycheck. Your wife's cheating on you, your kids hate you. See, that's a guy that's dwelling carelessly. The only thing, he's driving towards his own destruction. He just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
Con, you got it.
Yeah, and for to add to the brother too, because what people have seen and forgot, when Sleepy Joe was in the office, you still have all of these sleeper cells here, man.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you still have a boatload of people. You go back about 2-3 years that were coming in by the boatloads, middle-aged military men. All right, so-called Chinese, so-called Africans, man.
Shit.
So-called you even had the dude. What he said, bro. You may not know who I am
Mhm.
right now,
Yeah.
but you're gonna know me. You can't forget that all of these things have already happened, man. And we're not talking about a small number. We're talking about like a damn near invasion, man. You know? And all these people are just waiting for their turn to turn these things up.
That's right.
Because you have military troops that they're gonna launch here in America, but they're not gonna be the ones to put down their own people, man. You know? So that's why they're gonna have these foreign troops here that's already here to start mowing you down, man. You know? Go ahead.
I believe like most of our land is bought by what is it, China,
Mhm.
so they already prepared, man. It's just a matter of time to where they just push the, give that call and say, look, man, we ready.
Yeah, back his brother up about when the borders wide open. Then that A-list terrorist, you know what I'm saying? What did he say? Yeah, A-list terrorist. T.R. Slocky. What did he say? He was like, y'all don't know me now, but y'all gonna know my name soon. Man, they got many of him in America, bro, waiting for that green light.
And he said before, it's like, you stupid Americans.
Yeah.
You don't know who I am now, but you will know soon.
Yeah.
And he prefaced it by saying, you stupid Americans. Why? Because he knows you're dwelling carelessly over here. He knows you're only concerned about football, drinking beer, and going to the club.
Red circus.
Bread and circus. Time. And he gave one in the spirit. And hey, as the brother was saying with those foreign troops over here, a lot of information is coming out that the ICE people, a lot of them are IDF, 1948 or Defense Force.
Yeah.
And then a lot of those ICE are getting trained by them. And what do they specialize in over in the Gaza Strip? You already know.
Go do some research on that.
Mhm. I got mine right here. Any brother?
I got it.
Con. You got it, and then we'll jump to that Jeremiah.
This the book of Joel, chapter 3.
Brother Judas,
Go ahead, bro.
Con, you got
Go
it.
ahead, bro. You got it.
This is the book of George, chapter 3, verse 9, and it reads, proclaim ye among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears.
And if I could say that, with the beat, your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks and the spears, all these nations are raising their military budgets and moving towards a war footing. And then even in America, Trump had contacted, it was GM, and I think it was GM, and it might have been Ford, saying, look, I'm gonna need you to convert a lot of your car assembly plants to make military equipment. And the last time that happened was during World War II. And World War II gives you an idea why they were doing that. Everybody is getting prepared for this third woe, which is coming quickly, as it says in Revelation chapter 11, verse 12. You can keep going on.
The book of Joel 3 and 10. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong.
Hey, you do not know me, but you will know who I am soon. And then as the brother read in that article, you had that Iranian cleric say, look, we've got missiles that can reach America, and it's time for American citizens to know what blood and destruction looks like. And that would have been unheard of, I'd say even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Nobody would have ever expected a small country like that to be talking as big a shit as they're talking.
It showed you how far America has dropped to where it's no longer the top military in the world. People, that nation look at them like, you know what, we can get you. Look at it as a joke, man.
I made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. And this Iran war has really showed, how much a paper tiger the U.S. really is, because America's used to what? Going against a country that doesn't have a superior air force. You know, when it comes to actual soldiers, those soldiers are hard bodied, but you can't do much when you constantly got aircraft carriers sitting off your ocean doing airstrikes on you.
Yeah.
But with Iran, they got missiles that can reach those aircraft carriers, hence why they keeping them farther off than they usually would.
It just blew up an oil tanker earlier today. It was a big ass one too. They was carrying a boatload of oil. They just, man, I saw the video of that part. They blew that bitch up, man.
And damn near, it may be every one, but damn near every U.S. military base in the Western Asian region has been destroyed by Iranian missiles. And, you know, the numbers are all over the place on how many U.S. soldiers have been killed. You know, what the mainstream's telling you is about, one day they said 17, then they said 14. But when you go to like foreign media, they're saying 600 plus.
Yeah.
They're just getting mollywopped over there.
You got these devils actually deleting their records from the military so people can't search them up to see how many people actually died, man. That's how you know they getting their ass tore up over there. You know? Go ahead, man. That's crazy to do.
Hey, it's they had this guy. They took him off of YouTube and the authorities arrested his ass. Some guy named the brother Uriah. He's gonna know who he is. Richard Medhurst.
Mm-hmm.
He was heavily getting on those 1948ers with the Gaza war, and he was showing video of YouTube of IDF getting put down, like walking, and you just hear, and the body drop, that type of videos. And he's like, hey, it's a different ball game when you're fighting against real men and not women and children. That's what America's learning right now. They're fighting against some real hard-bodied men with the military that's gonna lash back, and it don't feel so good. But he was what kind? Yeah, that Joel Kahn.
Okay, we still read down to Joel 3:11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about.
Actually, we'll stop at that. Let the weak say I'm strong.
Sure.
Now we'll go to Jeremiah.
This is Jeremiah 51 and verse 11. It says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes.
And, you know, that's another name for Russia in the scriptures, the Medes. Gog, the Medes, you know, the North Country. And it's saying, raise up the spirit of the Medes to do what?
For his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple.
For what? For you in 1 hour, in the moment, in a second, to know widowhood and the loss of children. Ultimately going into those nuclear missiles hitting this place by God and these coalitions of nations that are going to be joined unto them. But before that happens, hey, there's going to be boots on the ground or sandals on the ground in the streets of America. Keep going.
Verse 12, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon, make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes.
Prepare the ambushes. And as we've been quoting that guy who said, you do not know who I am, but you will know who I am soon. That's going to be those ambushes, those sleeper cells over here. And then, you know, Sleepy Joe, what was one thing he was known for towards the end of his last presidency? Having the open borders to the north and especially to the south. You know, we go into it a lot. It was something called the Darien Gap, which was like in South America, going through Central America to Mexico, all the way up here, where you had Iranians, you had Syrians, Chinese, Africans, Russians, you know, all these different nations of people traveling up through those open borders. And they're not coming here to look for a better life. They're coming here to take away your life.
For the Lord have both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon.
Prepare the ambushes against the inhabitants of Babylon. Going back to that article, it's time for the American people, the Babylonian people, to know what blood and destruction looks like.
O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness.
And it mentioned that word dwellest upon many waters, dwelling carelessly. You know,
So I was gonna say, you know, also going back into what you said earlier, and also what the brother Amawab mentioned yesterday about them having those garrisons, man, planted all throughout the earth. You know, showing you, you know, the different nations and whom they conquered, basically, you know.
Hey, he's given the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven. That's all those, I think it's around 800 and something U.S. military bases all across the planet. And what does that look like to the average person? You got soldiers set up in a bunch of different countries for defense. No, it's for offense.
Yeah.
It's for occupation. It's for colonization.
Verse 14, the Lord of hosts have sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee.
Hey, let the weak say I am strong. All these people from second and third world nations coming in through those open borders like caterpillars to prepare those ambushes, which they're getting ready to spring. Another thing that's been taking place recently, which the brother could give me second Esdras 6 and I believe 24. Another thing that's been taking place recently is in 12 states across America. The only ones I can remember is Oregon, Minnesota, Michigan, New Jersey, and Wisconsin. They're reporting cyber attacks at water plants.
Yeah.
And, a lot of them are blaming it on Iran, which, Iran and China are going to have a hand in it. But another thing, too, you Americans have to worry about is your own government coming against you. It's going to be domestic teists, foreign teists, and even Uncle Sam coming with some false flags against you. You're about to get pressed at every angle. Khan.
And the second Ezra chapter 6, verse 24. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies.
Civil unrest, racial unrest, martial law.
And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run.
The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. What does that sound like? Water getting cut off, which is one thing you Americans are going to go through. The infrastructure getting hit by cyber attacks, blackouts and EMPs, where you're not going to be able to turn on the faucet, flush the toilet, and the lights are going to be out. Yeah. And there's going to be food short. Well, read verse 22, Bible Kishak, because everything is going to be a vicious circle leading from one thing to another. As it says in Amos, if he fled from a lion, a bear met him. But then if he escaped the bear and put his hand on the doorpost, a serpent bit him. If Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is not protecting you out here, one of these calamities is going to get you.
This verse 22, it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty.
The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Empty store shelves out here, which we got a little taste of that from 2019 to 2021 with the C-19. But things eventually got back to normal. What are you going to do when, once those store shelves are empty, they're going to stay empty? Then reading back down goes into what? Friends fight one against another like enemies. People fighting each other just to get food. You got it.
Hey, with your boy, the Shell CEO coming out and saying it's gonna be the diesel getting, man.
Yeah,
how you just throw out a word about diesel getting, brother? Y'all haven't heard that before? Like Armageddon, but with diesel. And we know once the diesel gets short, ain't no trucks pulling up to them grocery stores and shit, man. They go there 2-3 times a week, and like I said, the average store keeps about 2-3 days worth of food. So if that truck missed one delivery, it don't take much to empty out that store,
Yeah, and I wanted to say that all of America society runs on diesel. So
yes,
without the trucks, what about the farmers? Maybe not we be able to harvest they field.
The stone places shall appear unsown.
Yeah. Yeah, diesel is number one production when it comes to running America. Everything needs diesel. Even if the lights go out, you want to use a generator, it needs diesel. So
hey, America doesn't run on Dunkin', it runs on diesel.
I got a precept for you.
I know Shai had one, then we'll go through Brother's precept. Wait, where are you gonna start? Because we were going there. 14. Hold yours. Let's get the other brothers out because we're going through.
I got one back up.
This
real quick. It's second Ezra 16 and verse 21. It says, behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap
You got
upon
started 18.
18.
How'd you started 17?
Okay.
No, read verse. No. read verse 1 and then jump to 17.
God. This is second Ezra 16 and verse 1. It says, woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria.
And we know woe means destruction. So what? Woe unto thee, Babylon, Egypt, which you know are code names for America. So this is giving you an idea on who these main woes are coming towards. Go to 17.
17.
All right.
Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come?
And you know, we can relate this back to what? Matthew 27:24, verses 7 to 8. The beginning of what? You know, famines, nation against nation, earthquakes in diverse places. You know, as it says in Isaiah 28:8, precept upon precept, line upon line. You know, these scriptures, they back up each other from the New Testament to the Old Testament to the Apocrypha, and they're all telling the same story and leading to the same conclusion. Jacob's trouble, great chaos and judgment that's about to befall this earth, especially Babylon.
Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment.
Keep in mind, that's the second time it mentioned famine.
Right, and it also mentions amendment, which is basically going into the betterment or improvement, man, to chastise the people and correct them as far as the Israelites are concerned. Because the other heathen nations, they don't have no outlet. You know, it's over for them, especially if they're on the shores of America, man. Verse 20, and it says, "But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges."
If I could say, I'm sure some brothers up here can give this account. Back during 2019 to 2021, it's like you had family members coming out of the woodworks, friends saying, "Oh, what's going on?" Because they knew, what you were involved in if you told them. And so, when things get dire, that's when Jake turns back to the Bible.
Yeah.
What's going to happen next?
This in the Bible.
Yeah, you said these things were going to happen, but then what happened? When things got back to normal, they went back to scoffing,
Yeah.
not always being mindful of the scourges. And even when these terrors come, what is a lot of our 2/3 of our people going to turn to? Going and getting that microchip instead of taking heed to the words of the prophets.
I was going to let it go. It says, verse 21, it says, "Behold, victual shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion."
And mentioned famine a third time.
There we go.
Because
You read verse 22.
Okay.
Read to 23, really. Make
Okay.
your point, but you read down to 23.
Yeah, man. So the scriptures was talking about, it talked about that amendment, man, being brought forth through the way of the scourges, man. And the people aren't mindful. You think that during the time of famine, right, when the store shelves start to get a little empty, you know what I'm saying? Things start to get a little harder. People start to get a little bit more desperate. That the people would think, "Hey, man, look, we need to turn back to our power. We need to pray to the Lord, man." But they're gonna go and receive what? Other outlets, man. Esau are coming off of I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, universal basic income.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you $2,000 a month. Don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be all good. Trusting on Egypt, man. Okay, and trusting on his devil, man, for help. But all he gonna do is just turn his back and bite you, man, like a serpent. The serpent he is.
And to back you up before you continue, in the same chapter, 2 Ezra 16 and 68, "For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols." And for 2/3 of our people being idle, what are they going to feed you? What things offered unto idols are they going to feed you? That microchip.
Right.
"And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot." So even though the majority of our people are going to take that microchip, you're still going to be you're ultimately going to get destroyed by the missiles, but you're going to get mocked afterwards, especially if you were somebody who knew this truth and still got to see him. Your chastisement is going to be that much more.
Verse 22. It says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine,
Fourth time.
and the other that shall escape the hunger shall the sword destroy.
And to back up what this brother was saying about a diesel getting, once the diesel runs out, the trucks stop running, you got empty store shelves, and then what? Famines out here, food shortages. And famines are going to be one of the main judgments that Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is going to bring upon you Americans to thin the herd.
I see. Oh yeah, yeah.
Verse 23.
Oh,
Oh, that was it.
oh, you can read 23, but I was just going to say, and the other that escaped the hunger shall the sword destroy. If he ran from a lion, then a bear met him. You may escape starving to death, but you may get killed by one of these martial law troops out here, get sent to a sea camp to get tortured to death, or ultimately that ultimate sword, those missiles.
Verse 23. And it says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down.
And that just goes to show the mass amount of death and destruction that's going to come. People are going to be strewn out here as a dung. And people are going to become so numb to these dead bodies, you're not going to give a second thought to them like you don't give a second thought to that turd you flushed down the toilet. That's that cold, barbaric spirit that's about to get out here. Which actually, yeah, what is it? You can read down. You can read down to 31.
There, verse 24. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men.
And think of that movie, I Am Legend. Since Will Smith was the only man roaming around, you had grass breaking through the concrete, you had wild animals roaming through the street. Since nobody's going to be out here picking fruits or tilling the ground or cutting the grass, nature's going to start taking over again. Yeah. That shows you the great lack of people there's going to be out here.
Yeah, his best friend was a mannequin. He used to go into the store talking to a mannequin every day, man.
Y'all said y'all had some precepts? Okay. Before we continue, we'll get y'all's precepts. Whoever wanna.
I got something.
Good.
Just backing up that normalcy of the seeing of corpses, man. All right. This the book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 1. And it reads, hey, you have that? It says, woe to the bloody city. It is it is all full of lies and robbery.
Hey, sorceries, the witchcrafts, and the deceit, which can make the nations drunk. And then what's it saying in Ezekiel 35? Since thou hast not hated blood, blood shall pursue thee. America is that bloody city.
It reads, the prey departeth not. The noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and of the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots.
Those jumping chariots are going into airplanes. Like your chariot jumping. That's the best way to describe it.
That's right.
But you break it down,
Yeah, come on. However you want to do it. Verse 3, it says, the horseman lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses.
God, and they shall be as dung. It's
right.
You'll be walking. This is gonna be a normal occurrence. Just see that one Instagram model, that one baddie. She's gonna be laying there like that. Just step over. Sorry, baby. Mm-hmm. It's about to get bad. It's about to get medieval out here. That was it on it.
Just to back up what you said at the beginning about the whoredoms and the witchcraft, I'll get the next verse. Verse 4 says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot.
The mother of harlots in Revelation 17, Mystery Babylon.
It reads, the mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts.
In Isaiah 47, thou hast wearied thyself in thy sorceries, and thy witchcrafts to deceive these nations, and has made the nations mad off of them. And what? Now the nations are mad to the point to where they're setting up those ambushes and filling this place with men like caterpillars to take it down. But you said you had one?
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
You got it. Kind of.
I put in Google Eyes. How long does it take for famine to happen when supply trucks start running? He said if supply trucks start running, a major food crisis start in just a few days, and a severe famine can develop in about 30 to 60 days. Then he broke it down. He said in 3 days, fresh food like milk, meat, and vegetables run out. People panic and buy everything left on the shelf. Gas trucks run out of fuel because trucks get that too. In a week, grocery stores are totally empty. A week.
And the Lord is already shortening the days, so a week is like 3 days at this point.
Water treatment plants also start running low on chemicals needed to clean tap water.
And in 3 hours shall the water not run.
In 2 to 4 weeks, city stores have no food left.
And soon shall the full storehouse be found empty.
Food still exists out on farms, but nobody can move into the city without the truck.
Hey, going back to that second Ezra 16, a lack of men, so nobody will be able to pick the grapes or till the fields. Hey, everything's lining up.
30 to 60 days, a full-blown famine hit urban areas unless the government steps in to ration and to hand out emergency supplies.
And what are you going to have to do to get those rations? Put that hand on that table, and there you go.
Right, because hey, that's for a basic income family. Majority of you jakes don't even have $500 to do these things, like go and finish buying up the rest of the storehouse. So it's to be other chaos in these low income areas, like damn near almost immediately after the first few days, man. Majority of jakes is living off what? Government assistance. All right. They don't got shit in their pantry already. So hey, everything this brother is saying is gonna come in real time and real fast, man. We're at the end of all things.
Everything Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua is saying. And just to back you up,
Right.
what have you been having recently? It was like the YNs that were just bum rushing places and
Oh yeah.
and ransacking, and they're doing that. What was it called?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that, where it's like just groups of YNs will go to certain areas and just steal a bunch of shit. And as it says in Luke, if they do this in a green tree, how much more in a dry? We still got electricity. You can still fill your car with gas. You can still go buy some Takis from Walmart. So how much more when all that's not here? People are already acting like animals. So when they're starving like animals, hey.
They lose.
Oh, kind. Yeah, some more were you? Kind. Whoever want to go first.
I'll get real quick because y'all keep mentioning the plagues. Real quick, second verses 15 and 49. I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy house with death, destruction, death.
Kind. Hey, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, pestilence to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And when you read a few verses up, it says, and thou Asia, that are partaker of the hope of Babylon. So this is not just going to be happening in America. It's going to be happening in countries all across the planet.
That's right.
And remember what it said in 2nd Ezra 16 and 1. Woe to thee, Babylon and Asia. You Moabites, the so-called Chinese, are going to get it. You Europeans are going to get it. Which what? They're going through a horrific heat wave right now where it's in the thousands of people that are dying of heat stroke. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is touching this place.
If I could say, Japan just went through a massive tsunami, man. A massive tsunami.
Hey, that's Isaiah 28 and 29. The Lord with tempest and storm. Everything's covered. Mm-hmm. That was it?
Yeah, that was
This is Jeremiah 30 and 4. It says, he for the words that Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. But thus said Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, a voice of fear and not of peace.
actually now and see whether a man do a travail with a child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail? And all faces are turned into pale. Still got that.
Could you
Alas,
jump to 57 and read 58? Because just to back you up where it said, I see every man with his hand upon his loins like women. You know, the most badass Jason Statham person out here, Jack Reacher type person out here. But these calamities really come. You know, you're gonna have those type of men breaking down. Because what? You may have a strong body and a skill set, but a lot of y'all's mentality is weak. You start seeing real quick. You start seeing women and children get put down. You know, this society is already sifted out over the women and the children. They're just going to completely shatter.
it's a female.
What's a female? Before one of them IDF troops hit you in the face with the butt of their gun. Yes,
Yeah, verse 7 it says, alas, but that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it.
It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Speaking of those of the elect, which, as it says in Daniel chapter 12, you know, those that are written in the book, the archangel Michael is going to stand up for him.
Right.
You know, it also says the righteous shall scarcely be saved. You know, we're going to be in the midst of this chaos as well. The only difference, Ezra said in 2nd Ezra 16 and 17, woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? Because he saw himself in these days and saw how bad it was. But that is why we're diligently doing what we're doing right now. You know, standing upon our watch, preaching this word to get the blood off of our hands in hopes of having that hedge over us. Because if Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is not in your corner, hey, that's it for you. You got it.
Because that's why I tell you in Job, is that Peter, they tell you to gird up the loins of your mind, man. Because if you're not spiritually building, all right, your mental capacity to see these things and endure these things, it's over for you, man. You know, when you in the midst of Jacob's trouble and you see 15 women get mowed down right there, a lot of Jason's gonna, you know, start shaking, just sit there and just wait to die, man. Yeah. You just have to have your mind made up and to go through it, man. Because none of us up here are exempt from going through Jacob's trouble. We ain't just gonna walk through it on eggshells. No, we gotta go through that too, man. You know, that's why we have our mind is made up, our minds is girded up to prepare ourselves to see these things, man. Through faith, though. You know, but you got it.
Like I say, that's a beautiful point. A lot of Jakes, they watch videos and think that I follow the elders, I'm subscribed to this channel. So Jacob's trouble, I'm gonna just be in a mansion somewhere with a bunch of food. Like, no, the Lord's preparing us to go through Jacob's trouble, not avoid it.
Mm-hmm. Could you get that 2nd Ezra 15 real quick? Just to back up.
I was gonna ask a question just on that, which I was just saying too, because a lot of details that y'all going into about the destruction. But do y'all have, even though y'all was saying that, but going into more detail and helping the people understand, like, okay, we all gonna go through it too, and this is gonna happen. How do you gird up yourself? Because if I see a woman and a child get blown up in front, I'm gonna be tripping. Like, I feel like that is a simple. If you ain't tripping, I'm gonna be like, you didn't see that. So what is all of that look like for a person? When, like, what is a safe place, quote unquote, that you should be doing versus being asleep
and relying on the Lord? It's as simple as that. And you know, you're in a good stead right now. You know, you're out here listening to the word, listening to these things that are about to take place. And that's what we're here to do. Preach this word, you know, to tell our people that these things are coming and to get back to following your power, which comes to, you know, first having faith in what the prophets are preaching, and then, you know, following the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability.
I can make a point.
Con, you
real
got it.
quick to further answer what you asking. All right, when you indulge yourself in these scriptures, it gets you back into that manly estate too, man. And also you have to understand judgment. All right, seeing somebody get blown up, women or children in front of you, which what is that? Ezekiel 9 goes into the Lord's not going to spare women and children, nor the old. All right, so nevertheless, we're going to see these things. Okay, but understanding judgment, all right, knowing that is their judgment will give your mind ease. You're going to know when you see a baby laying there dead that was the judgment of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You're gonna know that. So it's not gonna affect you like somebody that's outside of the truth, if that makes sense to what you're saying.
That makes sense.
This Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, which Michael is the archangel. All right, he's going to defend us. It says, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. All right. Now, how do you prepare for something that's never happened on the earth before?
I don't know.
You can't.
You can't.
Oh,
It's not a trick question, bro.
yeah, no, I'm glad you asked. You looked there. I was like,
Yeah, so
I
the
got-
Lord is about to show us things that the earth has never seen.
Right.
Esau has weapons, he has technology that he shows bits and pieces in these movies, but we're about to see things we've never seen. So the only way to prepare for the unseen is, like the brothers have been saying, and have faith.
Right.
You understand what the definition of faith is according to the scriptures?
I understand the definition, but I get it seen different.
Like, Hebrews
Christians
11.
got it, and
Hebrews 11.
I got it.
It was,
I got it.
bring it out real quick.
Yeah, Hebrews 11 and 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Like the evidence of things not seen. So we build up your faith, building up the courage to endure things that you haven't seen before. All right, we can prepare for things that have happened already. You know, Jake already used to seeing Esau with guns shoot our people down in the street, but we're about to see some wild stuff. So you have to prepare your mind for that. Like the brother's been saying, the only way to do that is to search the scripture.
I want to back you up real quick and just to cover all aspects. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 9. I'm gonna start at 7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed. So you got to have the faith in what the prophets, that we are the prophets of the Lord, and what we're preaching is the word of the Heavenly Father, and that is going to come to pass. And by that faith, what you're going to continue, to inquire and start to mold yourself after what the scriptures are actually saying, which goes into your works. Stopping eating pork. Not saying you're doing these things. Just
No,
give an example.
yeah, I want to hear the example. Yeah.
Not committing adultery. Not celebrating holidays, which goes back to paganism. Just taking yourself out of the ways of this world.
Right.
Now, when I say that, I'm not telling you to quit your job or anything like that. We're still subject to captivity. We got to pay taxes and everything. But search the scriptures and get more towards the mindset of where our forefathers were in.
Mhm.
And hey, you're out here right now. You came out a couple of weeks ago. This obviously has piqued your interest. And I know you were asking me earlier, what is camp? And I told you, it's when we get together and preach this word. And you were asking if we have classes, which we do have classes. And what did I tell you?
Oh, you got to be in the camp.
And how did I tell you to get it? How you get into the camp?
You just come, but I like this too.
You
Yeah.
come out
Yeah.
and you tarry, and then hey, if it be the Lord's will, and you be over on this side, be on the classes preaching this word, and that's also a part of the works. So you have the faith to believe, and then you show your faith by your works. So continuing, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils.
Trying to get that word preserved.
Everything we've been going into, the famines, the mass death, which includes women and children. As the brother said, things, how do you prepare for something you've never been through before? You can. But we're preparing for it by doing what we're doing right now, having the faith that what the Lord said would take place in these scriptures is. So we're doing these works in order to be preserved from it. And shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. What you got it?
Real quick,
Okay.
if I can finish this verse, because that's beautiful that you brought that out. Because at the end of this verse it says, "And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time." This is the point right here. "And at that same time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book." So it's the same way we talk about World War III, race wars, famines, all of these things. The Bible says that there's a remnant of people that's going to be delivered from that. So our faith is that we're part of the number of the elect that's going to be delivered out of that. So, we prophesy about war and pestilence because that's what prophets do. But we're not saying it as if we're all going to die. Every man on this side right now, we have the faith that the Lord's going to deliver us out of these things. That's why we put forward our best foot forward, studying, being a brother, being the best man of the Lord that we could be, because we know in that day the Lord's gonna remember our works. He's gonna save us. That's our hope.
Ezekiel, so give me Ezekiel 3, read verse 17 to 19.
I got something for you.
Con. All right, y'all can get y'all can
All
get
right,
yours. Yeah,
cool,
con.
cool. Yeah. This for you, bro. This is Psalms, the 91st chapter. And I'll start at the top, but I'm gonna jump to a point. All right. This Psalms 91:1. It says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord Yahweh, He is my refuge and my fortress, and my power. In Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence." Now I'm gonna jump down to. I can read the whole verse, but huh? Yeah, I might as well. Real quick. It says, "He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler." So this truth is our shield and buckler. Having the Lord come sup with us, deal with us, having an understanding of the wisdom and knowledge that we actually dealing with in the scriptures. That's going to be what comfort us, as it says in Isaiah 33:6, that wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of our times. So when you seeing all these, different all hell breaking loose, the wisdom and knowledge of the scriptures is going to keep us stable.
Yeah.
That's going to keep our minds afloat to, keep pushing, because we understand prophecy. We understand what's going on.
Yeah.
People in the world, they fear what they don't know.
Yeah.
We understand what's going on, so therefore we ain't going to have no fear.
Yeah.
Right? Let me finish it out for you. It says, "Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday." It's the point I want to get to. It says, "1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee."
Yeah.
You got it.
And going back to that second Ezra 16, the people shall be as dung, and the one you brought out, Nahum 3, the body, you shall stumble over the bodies.
Yep.
We're gonna go through it. I can say everybody up here ain't never been in a war zone, ain't never seen masses of bodies just dead laying around. So when it comes to that, we're in the same position as you. We've never seen horrific things like this, but that, as the brothers have been going into, that's why we're doing what we're doing right now. Being diligent unto the Lord, showing our faith through our works by preaching this word and believing in the Lord, so that we'll have this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to guide us through these times and keep us stable. Because we know what the expected end is if we endure, that the Lord is going to protect us from all these things, and that we're ultimately going to, see salvation. Get beamed up onto the chariots. Con, you got it.
So
I know you've been also.
are you're aware that the Bible was written obviously thousands of years ago?
Yeah.
And all these things that's about to happen in the future, the Lord said it was going to happen. So when you see these things come to pass, it's going to build your faith. This is one of those things that's going to come to pass. This is Isaiah 65:11. "But ye are they that forsake the Lord Yahweh, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that truth, and that furnish the drink offering unto that number," talking about the 2/3 of our people. It says, "Therefore will I number you to the sword, and you shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, you did not answer. When I spake, you did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted. Wherein I delighted not." So there's people that hear this word and they mock it. They think the Bible's a joke. They think it's outdated. But then there's men like yourself, you hear the word and you take it seriously. And this is what's going to happen to men like us, Lord willing. It says, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit." So a major biblical prophecy is that the men that turn away from sin and repent are going to be protected in that day. And the men that take the Lord for a joke, they're going to die. Their children are going to starve right in front of them. They're going to get put to death. These are the judgments for non-believers.
Yeah.
So if you're a believer, you should have hope in salvation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You got
I
it.
mean, it really is that somebody who
Con.
Yeah.
Read 9 to 12. But just to back this brother up, I'm gonna read this real quick. This is Sirach 2:10. "Look at the generations of old and see, Did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? We have plenty of examples throughout the scriptures of our forefathers being put in situations to where there looked like no way out.
Yeah.
Daniel in the lion's den. You had the prophet Elijah, who during a famine, the Lord guided him to a lake with water, and birds were literally bringing food to him.
Yeah.
We have all these examples, and that goes into the faith too, to believe that these accounts took place in the past.
Yeah.
That if the Lord had his men protected back then, looking at the generations of old, what's going to be the same for his men now, walking in that same stead, receiving though ye shall eat and drink while they shall, thirst and hunger, ye shall joy and laugh while they shall sorrow and lament. For the people that don't take heed to the word, 2/3 of our people, as it's about to say in that second Esdras. Because remember, further up, it said, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by my works and by faith whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the said perils. So that's those that are being faithful to the Lord right now. But these next verses are going to go into what's going to happen to those that didn't take heed to the word. You got it.
This second Ezra 9:9. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they have cast them away despitefully, shall dwell in torment.
Cast them away despitefully, threw it behind their back, not took heed to the word, which when you were out there, when we were downtown a couple of weeks ago, you saw a bunch of people walking by, scoffing at us, talking shit, making little jokes and comments. This is applying to them. But as for you, you're here another weekend, inquiring, listening. So you're in a good stead.
Second Ezra 9:10. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me.
And an example of those benefits can be what? The Lord gave you a job to be able to afford a car, to be able to afford an internet connection, to see these videos, to see that you have men preaching in your city, and to have the ability to come down here. But what? Instead of that, you just decided to use your Saturday to, go downtown, commit adultery, just be a complete, demon out here.
Verse 11. And they that have loathed my law, while they had yet liberty, and when yet as a place of repentance was open unto them.
Which that place of repentance, this grace period, which, what's a grace period? If you can't pay your rent, you ask your landlord, hey, you mind giving me another week? Okay, that's a grace period. But if you don't pay that rent, your ass is going to get cast out.
Yeah.
So we're in a grace period. We're in a time of repentance right now, to where when you see us out or see any of the brothers out preaching this word, that means the Lord still has his message going out. But once this word ends, which that's another part of the scriptures, the famine of the word, where we're no longer going to be out like this preaching, and these video epistles are going to be taken offline. That's when the judgment is at hand. And we have brothers that are up in Canada, and just recently the Canadian government passed a bill called C-19, where people can be penalized and faced with jail time for reading out of the Bible and saying things that would be considered hateful to certain demographics. Let's say the rainbow people, for instance.
Right.
So you can see that's another thing that's encroaching, just showing you how close we are to all these judgments we started off reading about, and the salvation as well.
Understood it not, but despised it. The same as know it after death by pain.
The same must know it after death by pain. And with all these examples we've been going into, with famines, race wars, civil unrest, theist attacks, those are all examples of the scourges and the death by pain that the Lord's about to bring to 2/3 of our people and just these Americans in general. But the only difference is that our people have an opportunity to be saved from it. It's just whether you're going to take that opportunity or not. But Con, I know you've been. Get you. Cool. Yeah, we'll be around. Oh wait, no, I know you've been holding one. Brother Ben.
God.
Man, I think it's Frogu a little bit. He's been waiting so long. He about to raise his hand. Hey, there's an example right there. A person that's going to get judged. making, even out here, we're in pretty much in the middle of nowhere, and people are passing by, making jokes, you know, everything playing out in real time. What you got it.
Con. This is Romans chapter 14, verse 5. One man esteemeth one day above another, and another esteemeth every day alike. Just the point. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind.
Con. You got it.
Yeah, Con. I want to bring this up because, as you were saying, like, you know, how we gonna get through that time in time of trouble is faith, as we've been going into. But now it's the time, man. You gotta ask yourself, man, do you have faith, man? Because hey, when the time comes, man, you ain't gonna have videos to watch. Or you might not even have the scriptures in your hand. We go through these things, man. We gotta be fully persuaded in your own mind to where the Lord will be with you, man. That time of trouble, in the time of destruction, where you could be to eat in the time of famine. You could be protected in the time of, hey, man, you're trouble while everybody else be put to death. You be exempt from that, man. You gotta have faith in that, man. You got it.
You ever seen that movie with Denzel Washington, The Book of Eli?
Yeah.
Go back and rewatch that movie, because what was the premise of that? You remember what happened at the end of the movie?
He was blind, so he had a Braille Bible.
But he had it. He was able to recite.
Oh yeah, the Bible got taken, so he remembered everything that was in it.
That's
Yeah.
what the brother's saying. It gets to a point where you got to have the scriptures in you, because it's not going to be like, you know, we're going to be running in the wilderness and it just be, hey, you're one of those guys. What was Jeremiah 15? No, it's not going to be that. You got to get to the point, you know, which is what we're working towards, where these scriptures got to be written inside you, written inside your spirit. As the brother quoted that Isaiah 36, 33, and 6 earlier. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. You got to have the you know, that faith built into you to believe in this word, and, you know, to study the word, and, you know, inquire, and, you know, as you're doing right now, being around the men. So when that time comes, when you get put into these situations, you know, and I know other brothers can attest to this. Throughout my daily life, I get in situations to where the scriptures come to my mind on how to handle the situation, interactions with people, you know, stuff like that. And when I, you know, go with what the scriptures would say on it, you know, the situation turns out in my favor. It might not be exactly how I wanted to play out, but I make it home that day. But you done?
Y'all come.
Con, you got it. Then we'll come back to this side.
This is to back up that grace period. I ain't get the whole thing. I'm gonna just get like 2 points. This Proverbs 1, I'm gonna start at 20. It says, wisdom cried without, she uttered her words, her voice in the streets. She cried in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city, she uttered her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity?
You got it.
Done. Okay, and that's just like the brother was saying a little earlier. Okay, don't get the prophets are out on the scene. Okay, it's still a time of repentance. Okay, the doors are still open. All right, you can still turn back. Okay, but we have 2/3 of our people which are not hearkening to the words of the prophets. Okay, it says,
wisdom cried without, she is in the chief places of concourse. And, you know, where we were at downtown, where we used to be at, that was a chief place. Everybody was there. And even out here, it's on the lake. We still got people passing by, honking the horn. So we're visibly out here for people to see. The highways and the hedges, you know, and wisdom is crying without.
When y'all say the prophets, I'm sorry, y'all talking about like y'all I mean, it's more than y'all, like you said Canada. So the people that's on the street corners that's preaching?
Not everybody, because you do have, you know, false teachers out here. You do have other Israelite camps, but the thing is, you know, when you line up what they're saying with the scriptures, a lot of what they say doesn't line up with the scriptures, you know, and a lot of those camps, when you go up to them, you know, they'll shoo you away and won't answer questions. Like when I say brothers up in Canada, I'm talking about brothers in GMS or Great Millstone, because you got other camps like the IUIC or ISUPK. We believe, I say we know the mark of the beast in Revelation 13 is the micro C hip that we've been going into. They say otherwise.
Yeah, they say what you just I'm not doing my, they say what you just said before too, but that both could be true too. They were just saying how you guys saying like your mark could be like right now is open. So if you reprove your ways, you could be saved during that time. But if you not, just like I was reading it, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, the people who doing bad, who don't want to turn, their mark basically with death. And the people who doing well, like y'all said, is gonna be welcome to life.
The thing is, but a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump.
Yeah, also, that's the word mark in English. When you go into the Hebrew and the Greek, that's two different words. So mark in Ezekiel 9 is the wa, which is a mark of exemption. And mark in Revelation 13 and 16 is charisma, which is an implantable, something inserted in your hand. It's a physical device that's going to be inserted in you. So
I was talking more context of what y'all said. Like context of what y'all said. Like the
Like
way to
coming
be
back to
saved.
the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I thought that was like most of the meet and grid that hit me in the beginning. Like, oh shoot, I ain't doing nothing the Lord said. Like that was the most safest place. Like when you said, I don't want to go through the details of, you know, I ain't saying you eat pork and stuff like that, but when you turn around, you go, dang, I eat pork, I celebrate this, I do that. Like I'm really like basically saying, hey, kill him, he a heathen. Like, you know. So when you said that, I had put it to something else that they said. Once again, when my original question is saying, not just them, everybody feel like they a prophet for the Lord. So that's why I asked when you said when the prophets on the street, did you mean like the people that's on the street, like y'all, or do you mean the prophets in the Bible? That's what I thought you.
Prophets in the street.
Okay.
Yeah, us. And like I said, you got many different camps out there, but not everybody has the truth. There's only one truth. And if I could say real quick, you got it. This is Amos 3:3. Can two walk together except they be agreed? You know, those other camps do say come back to the Lord and you know, don't repent, don't eat pork and all that. But when it comes to the nitty-gritty, again, the mark of the beast, I can guarantee you those other camps, at least IUIC and ISUPK, don't say it's the microchip, which when you read Revelation 13, it tells you if you take that mark, you're going to be destroyed. So you got to know what the mark is in order to not be destroyed. And if you don't have faith to believe that what we're saying is the mark and you take it, you're going to get destroyed.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just to add on to the brother, like the brother was saying, the other camps do teach, you know, to come back to the law, statute, commandments, you know, and have faith, you know, in the Lord. But the thing he was saying, which separates us from them, is that we believe 100% that the so-called seed is the mark of the beast.
Yeah.
That's what separates us from them. So we would say here at Great Millstone, we have 100% truth. They don't have 100% truth. And the truth is not 100. The truth is not the truth. It's not at 100%. You get what I'm saying? So, and other camps have even said themselves that they don't have 100% truth, but nobody has it, or 90%, or 95. Right? That means somewhere within your doctrine you're wrong, or you don't have the answers to the question. That's the point.
If you say that, if you putting your faith in somebody that says, "Hey, I'm not 100% right on what I'm teaching you," what are we doing?
what are we doing? Right.
Like my life is my life. The life of my women, my children is dependent on me believing in what you're saying. And you say, well, I'm telling you, but I don't have the full truth.
It could be this. It could be that.
Could be this, little bit of this, little bit of that.
But if you're wrong, then you would be. I'm asking a question too. If you're wrong, could you consider them to be false because they don't teach 100% of the truth?
Yes.
But if that's not 100% of the truth of what you're saying, that means that you would be false also.
Yeah.
If we're wrong.
If we're wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, you gotta have the faith to believe. You gotta have the faith to believe that what we're saying is 100% true.
I just think it has the same duality of Jeremiah, Isaiah, Sodom and Gomorrah. But you're right. I feel like the COVID, where you couldn't get into buildings and things like that, you need the shot. You couldn't. I get it, but I you know, the chip is definitely could be real too. But the biggest thing that blew up in my mind is just like, yo, like I ain't doing nothing. Like I ain't doing no works. Like that was the biggest thing. The chip could. I mean, I can't. You know, I haven't finished the book either, but. If you take that chip and it come with those precursors, like you said, and I think that's crazy too, knowing that you didn't read this. So yeah, but I wouldn't say that would disqualify anybody with that part, but maybe it do, maybe it don't. I don't know.
Disqualifies them.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, you gotta have faith, and that comes back to having faith. Faith is the evidence of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The evidence of things hoped for. We have faith and hope that if we follow the doctrine we're following, we're going to be saved. And we haven't seen the sea hip come out yet, but we know we have faith that it's going to come out and that those that are going to get it are going to be destroyed, while those that don't get it, that are of that elect number, are going to be saved. But he had a precept real quick.
Yeah, this is
I just Oh, I was just gonna say, them other camps all preach of what the mark of the beast is, but they never tell you how they use that to buy or sell. If I say, like they say, it's sleeping with white women, so how did they gonna use that to buy or sell?
Whether you got to commit, or the mark of the beast is committing sin.
How you gonna use that to buy or sell?
You gotta commit a sin at the register to buy something like that. It doesn't make any sense.
Don't make no
That
sense.
doctrine is madness.
Well, no, I don't. Once again, I don't know. I just know that part of what they taught about the mark of the beast is similar to what you guys just said before y'all got into that part, or what I read in the beginning of Jeremiah and Ezekiel. Just like in Revelation says, these are the people who not gonna enter to the kingdom of heaven. Like it made it clear. Like it's always about your ways. I'm not saying I get it. Like I ain't taking no shots no more. I ain't getting no chip in my arm. But the biggest thing I really would say is I'm like, yo, like, stop living like a heathen, bro. Like, so I once again, I don't, you know, that 100% and 10%, I get it. But the biggest thing, you know, like I said too, trying to live could I ever say, I mean, I'm not a Christian. I'm not going to say it like that, but I'm going to keep myself from unwillingly sinning. I don't know if I'm going to do 100%. So, you know.
We ain't even able to do 100%. That's why we're doing the best we can.
Let me ask you this: if someone becomes a Muslim and they turn their life around and stop eating pork and stop committing sin and killing people, but they believe in Allah, is the Lord coming back to save them?
I don't know. I don't know nothing about what they do. I just know if they Muslim, then they Muslim, and that's on them. That's all I know. I know you asking me a straight up question. I don't have a problem with. I'm saying it like this: they're born to be Muslim, just like Esau is born to be Esau. I get it.
The elect is born to follow Yahweh Shai. What I'm saying is, if you do certain things that are righteous, like not eating unclean foods and not committing adultery, becoming a so-called religious person, you're still gonna be destroyed if you don't believe in the Lord. So your mind is kind of wrapped around like, do I need to repent? Do I need to do the right thing? Which you should. That's a major part of repenting, but you need to believe in Yahweh Shai. Of Jesus. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I would agree.
Everything else is gonna follow.
Yeah, I would agree.
I know this brother you got it after him.
This real quick, this Romans 3, I had a different precept, but it kind of guided me to this one. This Romans 3 and verse 23. It says, "For we all have sinned and come short of the glory of the Most High, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Hamashiach Yahushua." So we only justified through, we could keep the law, statute, commandments to the best of our ability. We could stop living like heathen, like you said, but we only gonna be saved through the grace when the Lord comes back, and our faith is gonna be justified in him.
Right.
Now, I was going to add to you, when you read a few verses up, it tells you that the Lord is our righteousness, our justification. Everything that we do comes from the Lord. So yes, other camps may keep the law, they may do certain things, and it sounds good and it looks good, but that doesn't make them righteous, though. You know what I'm saying? So everything that, just backing this brother up, everything we do is of Yahweh Bashim Shai and a faith.
All right, I'll get this real quick. This is Ephesians chapter 2. I'm gonna read verses 8. "For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of the Most High." So backing up what this brother was saying and what these brothers were going into, we're only going to be saved through the grace and the faith in Yahweh Shai. We can't go directly through the Father. We got to go through Yahweh Shai, with whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus. So as the brother was, saying kind of where your mind's at is, if I just stop eating pork, I just live I'm just speaking, live a so-called Christian life, I'm going to be good. That's not the end all be all of everything.
You gotta believe.
Yeah, it's the same thing though. It's the same thing if Jesus Christ say, "Hey, I'm believing me, I'm gonna die for y'all, but why? Since I did this life of repentance, stop trying to sin."
Right. He ain't giving no man, a license to
Yeah.
do whatever he
So
wants.
that's all I mean. That's I'm not saying go straight through that.
Right.
It's all encompassing. It ain't just one thing.
I feel you.
Yeah.
But for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of the Most High, not of works, lest any man should boast. So, kind of backing up what we were saying, You said, Salakia, you know, I can't follow, the laws 100%. None of us can. And that's not something to boast in, because you do have some, like say IUIC, for instance, the law, the law, the law. They're trying to make it out like they just follow everything perfectly, but they've got several horrific things they go off on. What we're preaching is by the grace and the faith in Yahushua. And what? By first having that faith in Yahushua, what? Then the works follow. You start molding yourself after how Yahushua walked and his men, which how do you get to that? Seeking in the scriptures. That's the game plan. But
I want to right, because these brothers are going into, it's like more or less like the beginning stages of understanding the truth. But you got to realize that there is more to the truth than just that. You know, that is bringing you into the fullness of it. And then once you get indulged in it, then comes the prophecies, and that's what these other camps go off on, man. All right. The prophecies are a major part of what we're looking forward to our salvation. Hence what the brother was going into with the mark of the beast. All right. That's a major part in prophecy, and they go off on that. So you can't, you gotta look at all the aspects. But just, backing up what these brothers were saying, there's more to the truth than just not eating pork or, stopping adultery, stopping committing adultery. Y'all got it.
Yeah. If I could add to it, what this brother saying, because listen, bro, we always right where you at. The same
That's
questions, like the exact same questions you asking us, we ask the same thing.
That's right.
But we just constantly, this brother, we was told like, hey, just go do some research, look at some things, watch some, lessons, watch the apostles, filter it through the scriptures and see what you come back with. And some brothers, it took longer than others.
Yeah.
With them same questions, and we came back, brother, and everything so far has, checked out, brother. We had those exact same questions. I stood in your exact same shoes. So, through faith, we kept pushing and finding, and the Lord had revealed to us more and more. And it's gonna continue on if you be consistent with it.
Thank
so
you.
you're in a good stead. I'd say, hey, consistently, come out every Saturday. You're contacting me, so I'm gonna keep you updated on everything.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
No problem. We'll probably just, I know we getting at about that time. Just get a last. Who's got some precepts? Con,
I got one too.
Con, get y'all. I guess we'll end off. You said you have one. Yeah, I'll end off with you too.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 24, verse 31. It says, I said, I will water my best garden and will water abundantly my garden bed. And lo, my brook became a river, and my river became a sea. Water is likened unto wisdom in the scriptures. It says this, I will yet make doctrine to shine as the morning, and will send forth her light afar off. I will yet pour out doctrine as prophecy, and leave it to all ages forever. And I brought that out because the doctrine is not just to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, which is what most of these other camps teach. All right, the doctrine is actually prophecy. All right, Yahushua said, I come in the spirit. The testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So if you read from Genesis to Deuteronomy and you try to keep every law, but you don't believe in the prophecies, you're not of the Lord. That's right. All right, you might live a so-called righteous life in your own sight, but in the eyes of the Lord, you don't believe in his son. So you're still a heathen. Even though you don't eat pork anymore, you don't commit adultery anymore, you don't believe in, it's actually a commandment in the book of Deuteronomy to believe in the Lord. So if you're trying to keep every commandment, but you don't believe in the Lord, you're still breaking the chief commandments. So, right.
But the ones y'all mentioned, they believe in the Christ.
No, they don't.
I see you as a I in Christ.
Jesus Christ.
They believe in Jesus Christ. They believe in the Christian.
They believe in Black Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what they believe in. They don't believe in Yahushua.
Jesus is not the same person. We're not preaching the same person as they're preaching.
Yeah.
We're preaching.
You
who he
teaching
truly
Matthew,
is.
Mark, Luke, and John?
Yeah.
Y'all
They
teaching?
read out of the same book, but they don't say his name.
Yeah, if I could, because he kind of lost him right there. What we saying is with behind the name Jesus, it comes with a certain stigma.
Yeah.
Like you
It's
could
a
look,
whole nother doctrine.
it's a whole nother doctrine. Because when you look up in your phone, pull your phone out, bro. Look up Jesus Christ in your phone. So-called white man gonna pop up, which we
Yeah.
call him, Caesar Bush. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look at, you can search in Google Yahushua, the biblical image, you know, what's supposed to be the biblical image of Yahweh Shai.
Real quick, it's not even about the image though. It's about their characteristics. They're teaching a whole different Messiah.
Right.
The name of their camp is Israel United in Christ. The Lord's mission statement is to separate the elect from Israel. The Lord is not coming back to gather Israel in Christ. That's nowhere in the Bible.
I just took it as more so as
They preaching
Because-
this version of it.
well, I mean, no, I mean I just took it just more the context of okay, Christ, who was he? He died for our sins for us to be able, huh?
Who sins?
I said our sins.
Who's ours?
The people on this billboard.
No, there's a remnant of these people. We're
If
all
we wanna, if we want to, if you this tribe, or I would say if you understand that he died for you to give back as a sacrifice.
Yeah.
That goes over your sins, and you say he, like he said in the scriptures, believe on me like I had said. Go out and feed the homeless. Do X, Y, and Z. Go
Never
up.
said feed the homeless.
He said feed. He said
my sheep.
no. He said the people that's sick and in prison. Visit the people that's sick and in prison. And he said when you saw me, you gave me nothing to eat, or you gave me no food. John came
talking about. He wasn't talking about. He was talking about his brothers.
No, I'm not. Whether I understand that though, but once again, if I see a black person or my quote unquote brother or a homeless person, I'm gonna give him some food.
But that's
That's
not going to do anything.
But whether it do nothing or not, that's what he said.
He
That's
didn't say that. He wasn't talking about literally going out and
John-
feeding the poor. He's
When-
talking about feeding with the word, doing what we're doing right now,
No.
preaching this word.
no. John said just to piggyback. Right, my bad. I'm not cooking y'all because this is just right here. They said John came in the forest teaching repentance, and he said, "What should we do?" He said, "If you got one shirt, if you got two shirts, get somebody a shirt."
He's talking about your brother.
No, my bad. Let me be more specific. If you see your brother that's homeless,
Who is my
Who's
brother?
your brother?
I mean, that would be any one of y'all, whether y'all got that on or not. If I see one of y'all out here and I'm like, yo, I got an extra shirt, here go a shirt, brother. Like, I'm not gonna be unsympathetic and not give you that. Like, it's an evil thought not to give somebody some food or some water.
It's not.
No,
Your
I mean-
mind is not like your mind is not acclimated to the scriptures. You're still thinking about Christianity. That's what.
No, I'm not. I never really was in Christianity. That was the biggest thing. But it's more so of a thought of saying, once again, if I saw y'all without a shirt, brother, you want a shirt? Like somebody say, hey, I'm not in y'all camp. You want some water, brother? Thank you, brother. I'm sweating. So that's how I think about it.
Get that Sirach 12.
Got something for you.
All right.
One.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 12 and 1. And it reads, when thou wilt do good, know whom thou doest it. So shalt thou be thanked for thy benefit. Do good to the godly man, and thou shalt find a recompense. And if not from him, yet from the Most High.
I'll get that one real quick so we can see who a godly man is and who your brother is.
I got a little bit, if I could dump down to verse 4.
We're gonna jump back to that part. Let's get context on this, because feeding the poor is a waste of time. I mean, giving a homeless guy a shirt's a waste of time.
Yeah.
That's not contributing to waking up the elect or bringing about salvation.
That's just something that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It don't make me feel good. I like my clothes. but God told me to do it. Like, you know, it's not really. But if I think before I thought about the verse, I did think like that, and that was more evil than to not get somebody a sandwich though. So
Hey, if you want to give a guy a sandwich, we're not telling you not to give him a
that I don't think I'm gonna get an extra star or nothing. But I'm just saying.
But
I'm
that's
just
not what Yahweh Shai is saying, to go give a dope fiend a turkey club.
But I understand that y'all. I want to hear the verses that y'all got, but if y'all, I think that's one of the things. Like, you know, coming out here getting questions, like the scripture that I am bringing up though. After y'all do that, if y'all got time to go to those actual scriptures of that context to break it down on what that would mean. But I do want to hear, because that was a good verse. He said, "Do it to the godly man." That makes sense too, though. But if I just met you, I don't know what I'm supposed to ask you your background. So when I was in my heathen ways, I got a bunch of help. I felt like that helped me get back to some type of God. You know what? Let me do something. You know, not even to feel good, but to say, man, let me, you know, that reminds me, you know, let me do good. So it's not so much about me.
And where did it bring you? It eventually brought you here.
Yeah. So I'm saying, but at that time I wasn't a quote unquote, I wouldn't call myself a godly person when them people helped me. You know what I'm
We're
saying?
reading that second Ezra 9. Those that have received benefits. They have those that have not known me, but then they have those that have known me. Received those benefits, as you were saying. It made you get in the mindset of, hey, there is a God. I might want to start being godly. And then through all these different scenarios, you're eventually here.
Right.
You brought before the truth. That's
Right.
not saying everything, all those other things is the truth, and that that's where God is or anything like that. Those are just stepping stones to get you here.
Have you ever heard of the saying, the Lord working mysterious ways?
Yeah. Yeah. But it would go back to my thing of giving somebody, one of my brothers, a sandwich.
Got it right here.
Oh, hold on. You got the precept. Let's see who your brother, who your mother, who your sister, who all those are. Then we'll go back to that Sirach 12.
This is the gospel according to St. Matthew chapter 12, verse 46. While he yet talked to the people, that he is talking about Yahushua, while he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him.
Now, I know you love your mother.
Yeah.
I love my mother. You got a brother?
Yeah.
You love him?
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody up here, they got a brother that they love, a blood brother
Yeah.
that they love.
Yeah.
Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. So Yahushua's blood, his mother and his blood brother were there to see him.
Yeah.
It says, but he answered and said unto them that told him, who is my mother and who are my brethren?
Mm-hmm.
And he stretched forth his hand towards his disciples
Yeah.
and said, behold, my mother and my brethren.
Yeah.
For whosoever shall do the will of my Father,
It's
which
my
is
mother.
in heaven,
Mm-hmm.
the same is my brother and sister and mother.
Yeah. But that don't mean that I'm not, quote unquote, I'm not with y'all. That don't mean I'm not y'all brother. No. So case in point, the same thing, this word brother in that context, he's saying that y'all all brothers. Make sure y'all all strengthen each other as y'all go, which I see y'all do. Somebody came and ran up on y'all ass. Hey man, get out the way. But it was another one in that same chapter where three guys walked in. That's the neighbor. That was the one with the neighbor. He said, who is my neighbor? In that same way, help out. If you go to not Ezekiel, in the beginning, he says, I'm gonna raise among your brethren, a prophet. That's another word for, so the word brethren in that is just in different contexts. So in that context, he's saying, yo, we the ones who doing, but that doesn't mean, huh?
Your neighbor also means another Israelite.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. So once again, whether I don't believe like y'all do, I'm still would be considered y'all brother. Not in the way that y'all brothers though. Not like y'all and we not brothers like y'all got my own siblings.
Yeah, in hopes of us to convert you, into being, tightly knit with the body.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's the hopes or the end goal that will be for you.
Yeah.
To continue for you to keep coming, continue, and then as you keep coming, brother, you're gonna get to know us.
Yeah.
You're gonna be in tightly fitting with the body. You know what I'm saying? You can't just pop up one day and be like, oh, I'm your brother. Of course it don't work like that.
No, of course I'm y'all. Well, no, but if
I
we
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
We're all Israelites.
Yeah.
So by blood,
Yeah.
we're all brothers.
That's what I'm saying.
But right now, only the elect are who matters. Yahushua did come for the entire nation.
Yeah.
But right now, before the kingdom, he only came for the elect.
That might be a lot for me, but go ahead.
Yeah, like he
I
only,
get what you're saying.
we're all you're right on that. We all come from Jacob. We all come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So we are physically brothers. We're of the same nation and race. But right now, Yahushua, while he did die for the entire nation,
Yeah.
only right now, in this point before the kingdom of heaven is established, did he come for the elect, that remnant, as brothers have been going into, that took heed to the word.
I got you got the Romans.
Real quick, this Romans 9:6, not as though the word of the Most High have taken none effect, for they are not all Israel, which are of Israel. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children. So there's physical descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that are Israelites, but they're not our brothers. They hate the Lord.
Right.
Yeah, but they're asleep though. So I thought I don't want to say they hate the Lord. They just indirectly.
They hate the Lord. They
No. They just asleep. They don't know that they hate the Lord.
The Lord has them asleep to destroy them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
Get that?
Because listen though, I feel like,
Yeah.
But it's true.
hold on, no, that's not true. Because
It is true.
no, it's not. Because I'm about to tell you, when I was on the other side, y'all might would have been saying, "Oh, you hate the Lord," but I didn't hate the Lord. I just didn't know. It didn't click to me.
We all
So-
been on the other side.
Right. So you didn't. None of y'all. So you hated the Lord at that time?
At that time, yeah.
No, you didn't.
Your
You just
actions
didn't know
said
that.
You may have believed in a God, but your actions showed you.
Yeah, but when we out here just saying that, you know what I'm saying, I feel like it does it injustice just to say like I'd rather walk up to as I'm going through the scriptures, even when I talk to my family members, they actually been in Christianity. My grandma, like, she ain't coming out of Christianity, but I know my grandma don't hate the Lord. She just got it mixed up, and I hope they all wake up. That's my mindset towards them versus, and I understand that you know y'all more hardcore than that, but me, I just pray that they wake up. But they don't hate the Lord. They just need to read.
But listen, bro. What we trying to convey to you, understand, is that we've been where you at.
Yeah.
That's what we trying to get you to understand. We've been like,
Yeah.
look, I'm going to tell my mama, I'm telling my grandma, my aunties.
Yeah.
But it'll come to the point to where when you start to really dive into it and you start to give them, you know, like, oh, we are Israelites, you know, the Lord love us. They'll start to be like, oh no. They're like literally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We've dealt with that. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have come to the conclusion that they actually do hate the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not getting down with this.
What about the brainwash? You don't care the slave thing? That ain't-
Hey, we were all brainwashed.
Yeah.
We all in it.
We went to the same schools they went to.
Yeah.
You realize that there's people that if you tell them you're not supposed to eat pork according to the Bible, they'll attack you and insult you.
Yeah, of
Try to-
course, yeah. But I understand the curse though. I get it. Like, yeah, I'm not, you know, I'm not saying I
We're
get
gonna let the scriptures.
Go ahead. That's fine.
7 to 8, and then you start at 5, but then jump to you can jump to 27.
Okay.
27 to 28 after you read what you want.
This is Romans chapter 11, verse 5. It says, even so then at this present time, also there's a remnant. Now, what's a remnant? It means a small number or a remainder. So there's a remainder, not the whole nation, but a small number out of this nation that's going to be saved. It says there's a
And
remnant.
remember, in Isaiah 65, it said, "You will eat and drink and rejoice, but they starve and thirst and lament." So there's a clear distinction right there.
He's talking to Israelites. There's a group of Israelites that are going to starve to death. Their children are going to die. They're going to be put to death brutally. And many of these people in our family, we're not just saying this because it's cute. It sounds.
No,
Our family is about to die because they hate the Lord. That's a very serious thing. You got to like wrap your head around that.
I know. I was just asking. Y'all job is to wake them up, huh?
Our job is to wake up the elect. The Lord, the
Oh,
Lord is actually in
Okay.
charge of who's going to wake up.
gotcha.
Romans 11 and verse 5, it says, even so then at this present time, also there's a remnant according to the election of grace. And if by grace, then it's no more of works.
Back to that
Otherwise,
Ephesians.
Mhm.
It is not by your works, but it is by grace and faith by which you're saved. Going into what? Faith in Yahushua and his grace. His sacrifice is what gave us this grace to come back to the Father.
it says, but if it be of works, then it is no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work. What then? Israel had not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election had obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
And that's straight to the point. What then? Israel. So this is being directed towards Israelites. Hath not obtained that which he seeketh for. You know, you're saying your grandmother, she believed in Christianity, she believed in God, you know, she means well in her heart, but she doesn't believe in the truth.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not so much she don't believe in the truth. She just really don't even know. Like, I mean, just to clarify what you're saying. But I'm not gonna be like she hate the Lord. She said she mumbled the same thing. Y'all have faith. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, if she doesn't,
I understand that, but I'm
she
saying,
doesn't believe in what the Lord truly preaches, then she hates the Lord.
yeah, that don't mean that though. That's a lot, bro.
They
Like,
love
if it,
God, okay? They
Yeah.
love the God of the Bible. They love the God
Yeah.
that they believe in, which
Yeah.
is not real. They love a God that loves everybody, that loves all the nations. They love a God that's all loving. They love a
Yeah.
made-up God. That's
Yeah.
not real. They hate the actual Lord of the Bible.
yeah, but
If you would, which I'm not saying you should do this. Don't try to convert your family.
no, I know he said we was where you at. I already went past to ask them, hey, the passes and all. I'm like, why y'all ain't telling every? And they mind just like they going to Paulson. So I'm past that. But to be like they hate the Lord is just that's a
You
fallacy.
hung up on this word hate, like you think
Well, because that's what
it
y'all
means
said.
strongly dislike. That's what the word.
Okay, my bad. I ain't that
They
far.
strongly dislike
If
the
I-
God of the Bible. They dislike the commandments. They dislike the structure. They dislike
Yeah.
the fact that the heathen are beneath us. They really have a problem with that.
Yeah.
They want the people of this sign to stay at the bottom.
Yeah. They
Like you
can't.
said,
They ain't been taught that.
They've been taught that. They've been brainwashed, like you said.
Yeah.
So they don't want these
Yeah.
people, especially the men.
I got
of
grace
this
for them.
nation, to come back into power.
Well,
They don't
yeah,
want
I they remind me of the person who was adopted, and their parents come out and be like, "You adopted," and they go, "I ain't adopted," and they really fuck them up. But so that's all I see it, because it's hard to believe, and not for me because I never really was dipped in it like that. But once I started really reading, I was like, "Oh shit, that's us."
Yeah.
So I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I pray for them, just like Moses when God was like, "I'm gonna kill them all." Moses was like, "Nah, please look, give them another try." You know?
You gotta get it though.
I mean, yeah, listen.
I mean, yeah, of course you got your cool cousin, you know, whoever, your cool brother, sister. You would like them to make it, but that's up to the Lord.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm have grace on who I want to. I have mercy on who I want to.
It's back in Romans 11:8. According as it is written, the Most High had given them the spirit of slumber.
Wait, who gave them that?
The Most High had given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day.
Jump to 27.
Con.
So it's the Lord that actually put a spirit, because the Lord doesn't want 2/3 of our people to make it. He wants them to be destroyed. He's ordained for them to be destroyed. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but that's what it is.
I gotta get to that point.
This Romans 11.
Which is understandable because, you know, we're naturally a compassionate people. You know, Jake don't like to see his loved ones. You know, even sometimes I'll see a 2/3 get fucked up. And it's like, damn, the white man fucking our people up. But then 5 minutes later, a nigga will cut me off in traffic. Kill this nigga, like, but all kind of crazy.
Yeah, this Romans 11:27. It says, "For this is my covenant unto them when I shall take away their sins.
Listen closely here.
As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes."
As concerning the gospel, preaching this word, preaching the truth of this word, they are enemies for your sake. The Lord set it up in the story for 2/3 of our people to be enemies of the gospel.
Yep. Verse 28, it says, "As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes. But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake."
But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake.
Yeah.
All Israel is going to be saved at the end of the day, but everybody's got their role to play.
Yeah.
They're loved by the Father because what? They're doing what He ordained them to do.
Right.
And with what? With a lot, I know a lot of brothers came to the truth by seeing the camps debating people, and by them debating people and them asking questions
Yeah.
and them answering it through the scriptures. What? That woke you up. You said, "Oh shit,
That's in the Bible.
that's in the Bible. That makes sense."
Yeah.
So for the election's sake, they're loved of the Father because what? They're being used to help wake up the elect.
I got something in red letters for them.
God.
This might help you.
Wait, you don't. And real quick, just sorry. They're not supposed to be debating.
Yeah.
Wait, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's
Okay.
part of- it said that's why they are in it for the gospel's sake. They are your enemies. They're
Oh.
playing their role, just as we're playing our role as preaching this word.
Yeah, the Lord.
You don't believe that they're the elect though, because
No.
they believe that they are the elect.
No,
don't.
they're just
don't even talk about that.
Oh, okay.
But this is in red letters. This is
Okay.
this will help you. Lord willing, this will help you understand. This is St. Matthew chapter 13 and 9. This is in red letters, which you know what red letters mean, right?
Yeah, the letters are red. Jesus Christ talk.
Okay.
Jesus talk.
Okay, you could call him that for now. It says, "Who have ears to hear, let him hear." All right, that's what he said. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. Not everybody has ears to hear. We all have ears, but not all of us have ears to hear. It says, "And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables?" So they're aware that the Lord spoke to crowds of people. He was speaking mysteries and riddles and parables. So they're asking him, why are you speaking in parables to these people?
Yeah.
You're the Messiah. You're the Savior. Why don't you speak plainly to our people? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Get that word mysteries. Matthew 13, verse 30. Mysterion. It says, "For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away, even that he have. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing not, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which we told you this all of this is about prophecy. Everything goes back to what the Lord said he was going to do, which saith, by hearing you shall hear and shall not understand, and seeing you shall see and not shall perceive. And it says, for this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. So he speaks in parables intentionally, because if he spoke plainly and everybody understood, he would have to heal everybody.
I think he just all he's saying that when he said that, he's shaking his head before I even said anything. When no, I'm saying that's everything that you read is just a precept to what's in the Old Testament. So as I'm reading through it, when I first read that, I was like, I didn't understand it. Then when I read through the Bible, everything started clicking on what he's saying. So even though him and Paul is speaking in mysteries, they're only getting it from the prophets. When you read it through the Apocrypha, the Old Testament, even in some exhortations you may see, or some of y'all speaking, you be like, oh, that's what matches up to what you just said. So even when y'all talking, it's not so much of a mystery if you're reading through the scriptures.
It is a mystery because the majority of our people don't get it.
No, I'm saying from the way I'm seeing
You
what
gotta
y'all
look
saying.
at it like this: the fact that you're out here and are understanding more or less what we're saying, that's a good chance you could be at that elect number. We got plenty of people that come by. We could have the exact same conversation with them, and they're not going to get it.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to get to you: is that there is an election that's going to get it, and then the Lord has blinded 2/3 of our people not to get it. Which he quoted that Isaiah 6. Let's bring that Isaiah 6 out real quick, because it mentioned it's going to save. Because Isaiah's going to ask, when are they going to see it? Yeah, you can start at 9.
Okay, it's Isaiah 6 and verse 9. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not.
Cracking up what the brother brought out in Matthew 13. To them I speak in parables, because it's not for them to receive it, but it's for you to receive it.
I'm gonna make a quick point, because the Lord, he did that on purpose. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna just speak and no, he purposely did it so some people couldn't get it. You see what I'm saying? They hear like people, like the brother was saying, you'd be downtown, people walk by, they hear us prophesying, they hear what we talking about, but they won't understand what we're talking about because the Lord didn't open up their ears to understand. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Verse 10, it says, make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed.
As the brother said, the Lord, if he were to make it plain to everybody, for everybody to get it, he would heal everybody. But that's not the game plan. The game plan is only for the elect to make it, while 2/3 of our people are not to get it and to be judged and destroyed.
Now, let me ask you this, because you say you've been reading Jeremiah, you've been reading, the prophets. Have you ever read a prophecy where the Lord is coming back to save all of Israel?
No, it's only the remnant, the people who didn't bow down to Baal.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
answer.
but no, but that's my whole point. When as I'm going through the scriptures, like me reading through Ezekiel, if I didn't read that before, it would just be a mystery. I'd be like, flying saucer, what are you talking about? The wheels is in the spirit. But then when I noticed I actually finished Jeremiah, I'm like, oh, he's just talking about the evil that's coming from the north. So everything is interconnected. It's not really so much a mystery. So like I'm looking at my kids, or I'm looking at my pastor, and I'm asking them questions. And maybe the Lord didn't open up his ears, but my pastor, he's not my pastor, no, he never was my pastor, but he definitely didn't read. You know what I'm saying? He didn't know nothing about the storyline. He didn't know nothing about connecting the dots. He just didn't know the basics just of he didn't know nothing. Like, I'm like, bro, I thought, so he just going scripture to scripture to read. So I want to get back off your point. Is I think when I tell people about it and they ain't want to mess with it, it's cool. I don't think nobody told me. One day I was just like, I never read the Bible. Like, it just kept playing for like 3 years. Like, you never, hey man, pick it up. Pick it up.
The Lord wanted you to get it. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. It makes so much sense to you that you thinking, Well, the reason it don't make sense to them is because they haven't heard it broken down the right way.
Yeah,
Or they haven't been
my mom.
exposed to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we all thought the same.
Oh,
thing.
okay.
But the reason that you're getting it is because the Lord chose you to get it. Period. That's the only reason. It's not because this brother's so eloquent or I break this down, but the Lord wants you to get it. You don't want other people to get it. It really is that simple. We could put it plainly, we could put it harshly, we could put it smoothly.
And
If there's a
it's,
group of people that's elected to get it, and everybody else is just not gonna get it. It don't
oh,
matter.
okay. Y'all didn't save me a lot of time with that one.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. Because some of them are gonna wake up, but they're gonna wake up when all hell breaks loose and they realize, oh, the Bible is the truth. Like there's some people that are gonna wake up like that, but it's not for you to make yourself an enemy of your family members. Hey, put that pork down. You're gonna be just completely make an enemy. Like you're gonna be the crazy person in your family
yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah, I'm already crazy.
Yeah, the Lord, He's not calling you to do that.
Just work on yourself.
Yeah.
Just stay low key. You know, I'm not gonna say your name on camera. I'm just E. I'm just the cool guy. That's it.
So, just to action on that question right quick. I do see it says well, I think I'm about to do Ezekiel. I'm about to do the kind of the good read and quote point to point. But one of them, where I was at, is he's telling Ezekiel, if you don't wake up your brother, if you don't tell him, then it's gonna be on
The
you.
blood should be on you.
Yes.
That's what we're doing right. We were holding that earlier.
And
You got it.
that's talking about to prophesy. That's not talking about you go to your family at Thanksgiving and be like, look, mom, we're not supposed to be the Israelites, we're from the tribe of Judah. We're not.
They ain't with that.
That's not talking.
I'd rather take my not all the time, but at least one time and say, look, y'all,
Don't even. Right now, just concern yourself with coming out here and just bring a pen and a notepad next time and write down, because we've been going over it a lot.
Yeah, y'all ran through it. Y'all had some things
I
that
understand this too. The more you get built up and your faith gets built and you start to change, people are gonna see that about you. You're not gonna have to tell them such and such. They're gonna see like, what, man, you changed different, man. You put off your trash. You don't eat this no more. You don't smoke this no more. Like they're gonna see a change in you, and they might just naturally start asking you questions.
Yeah.
You don't have to force it on them. This is not Jehovah's Witness. We're not knocking down doors. Hey, brother, did you know you're a Hebrew Israelite? No, the Lord set up this sacrifice for us to put up an altar. You know, according to Isaiah the 19th chapter, this is an altar right now, and the people that are meant to hear it are gonna hear it. Like you were meant to hear it. That's why you're here. And there's millions of Jakes in New Orleans that's not meant to hear it. It is what it is.
Finish on that Isaiah. We'll get that word Syria. Yeah.
Verse 11, it says, then said I, Lord, how long?
How long until they wake up and hear the word?
And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate.
And as we started off with this camp, we were going into all the different judgments. We talked about desolate houses, dead bodies, famines, tea attacks, all that. What Isaiah is being told is, hey, they're going to get woken up after death by pain, after they're destroyed, and then they come back in the kingdom in their right mind. But right now, we're only here to preach to the elect for them to get it. We can preach, we might just, in that Ezekiel 3, when he is saying, go and preach to the people. Yeah, that's what we're out here doing. We're in the chief places of concourse. Wisdom is crying without, but only the elect are going to get it. We're preaching to everybody. Well, we'll get that Ezekiel just to explain it. We're preaching to everybody, but not everybody's going to get it. Only the elect, that remnant, is going to get it. But as it's going to say in Ezekiel, by us going out and preaching this word, it's going to get the blood off of our hands.
That's right.
This is Ezekiel 3:17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me.
I made thee a watchman, standing upon our watch, going out to the chief places of concourse, the highways, the byways, the hedges. And then, we're live streaming so people from the comfort of their home can hear the word. And if it's, you got people that'll hear it and be like, oh, that's bullshit. Then you have some that'll see it. And then they'll put in the comment boards, hey, I live in New Orleans or whatever. Where are y'all at? I want to inquire more. Keep going.
Verse 18. When I say to the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thy hand.
So if we don't preach the word, the judgments are still gonna come. The death, the destruction, the horror, but we're not gonna be saved because we didn't preach the word. We're gonna be destroyed along with them. Keep going.
Verse 19. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul.
We'll stop right there. That's the key point right there. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turned not from his wickedness, showing that what? Not everybody that hears the word is going to get it. Some are going to hear the word and get it and, repent. A lot more are not going to get the word and not turn from their wickedness and continue being wicked. Let me just reset. Kind. And as I said, yet if thou warn the wicked and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked ways, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. So even if they don't get the word, as long as we stood upon our watch preaching the word, their blood is off our hands. But the key point is, not everybody's going to get it. Because as we've been going into, there's an elect, there's a remnant who the Lord ordained to get the word. But for the majority of our people, the Lord has made them spiritually blind to it.
You go into it saying like they may not get it.
Mhm.
You go into it like say you're not just talking to people like on Saturdays. You probably all throughout your week talking to people.
Fuck no.
Oh no.
I
So
don't tell anybody anything. This is me coming upon the watch to preach this word. Now the brother did make an example. The more you grow in the truth, I say this, further down the line, not tomorrow, not next week, not even next month. If you keep being diligent and coming out, and the more you grow in the spirit, as the brother was saying, people will see you change your ways, and they may inquire, "Oh, why are you doing this?" And then
right.
off of that, they may start changing their ways. Or they may not. They may say, "Oh, he just in a cult. He don't eat pork. He just yeah."
So they look at you.
Mhm.
different.
But
This is Ezekiel 3:7. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted.
It says they won't listen to you because they won't even listen to me. Our people, majority of them don't listen to the Most High at all. They go to church, they praise Jesus, and completely contradict the entire Bible. That's the God that they love. So,
Yeah.
when we say they hate the Lord, they hate the structure and discipline that comes with following the actual Bible, not some greasy pastor getting up, giving a speech, putting on a show, playing a musical performance. They love the theatrics surrounding Christianity, but the actual Lord, they're not with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
hey, so and with that, we hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified by another camp, which is very, very edifying in the spirit. Hey, the brother on the other side of the camera, he came out a couple of weeks ago. He's back here again, inquiring. So the doors of mercy are still open. So to those that are on the comment section, if you're understanding this word, hey, you better start making some moves, because as we started off with the camp, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is about to come with great death and destruction. You don't want to be caught up in it. So before we get out of here, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Barakash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Abba Baba, Abba Baba, Abba Baba, Abba Baba, Abba Baba, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom. That's my brother. Please, Israelite, say.